Thanks, Isaac. So we're going to go ahead and get started today, and I will just do some housekeeping early on. So if at any point you have questions, you can go ahead and type them in, and I should get a message indicating that there is a question. I'll try to answer them as we go along, but if for timing reasons it makes sense to hold them to the end, or if I'm perhaps covering them in a later slide, I'll let you know. And in addition, if we run out of time and I don't have a chance to address all of the questions on the front end, keep in mind you can email me any questions. Be happy to correspond with you if you have some questions specific to the presentation we are doing today. From a overall perspective, we're going to cover a lot of territory, and we have an hour and 40 minutes. I can tell you that sounds like a long time, but in this area, covering this much territory could take a whole day. So we're going to do our best to get through it quickly, try to keep it interesting. Some of this stuff actually is pretty fun, if I do say so myself. And I think generally speaking, we're going to try to keep to our game plan of covering federal laws first and then going through state laws. I can't overemphasize on the state law side. A lot of what we're going to talk about is changing so rapidly that the biggest and most important thing to remember is to stay abreast of the changes. We're going to talk about some laws and really some trends that we're seeing in different states based on their laws, and then also in different cities. But the biggest trend and takeaway is that these laws are coming. And we'll talk a little bit about a federal law that's been proposed, that it may be coming from a federal side as well. But these laws are coming, and they're coming from local push. And so knowing that the process to follow and the specific procedure to learn more information about whether an individual is entitled to leave might change day to day. So everything in here should be accurate as of now, but keep in mind, this is an area where if you're in a state that's affected by paid sick leave law, you want to have a general process in place to continually review the laws. And then especially if you're operating nationwide, you want to have someone assigned so that their but one of their jobs is to continue to monitor the changes, not just in states where there currently is a law, but in states where they are proposed and in states where they become law. Because when we're dealing with, 8 states now, it very easily could be 12 next year and then 15. And as it grows and expands, you want to make sure as an entity, your corporation is putting the appropriate amount of focus on these types of laws. So as a roadmap for today's discussion, we're going to talk about the FMLA and the ADA first, so you can really understand where these laws are coming from. Now, FMLA and ADA do not require paid leave. So when we say this is a seminar today or a webinar today talking about paid leave, it's a little bit of a misnomer because we're going to talk about some unpaid leave too. However, what's most important to remember is the process and procedures for following and obtaining information about whether someone is entitled to leave are being influenced by other laws. And the FMLA and the ADA are the prime influences here. When we start talking about the trends we've seen and some of the biggest consistencies amongst the states, you will see that a lot of it comes from FMLA and ADA law. And that's because, of course, if there's not another national leave law, there's not a whole lot that legislators can pull from. So they got to have something to start with as a starting point. And they may say, we think we want to protect more, or we want to allow you to get less information, but a lot of what they're going to get is going to come from the FMLA and ADA. Then we'll talk about state laws, and again, fair warning, can and will change, absolutely. But we're going to talk about the laws that currently exist in Arizona, California, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, and then our capital, Washington, D.C.